Good morning everyone, welcome back to Taival Outdoors. My name is Joel and today I'm on a day hike in Torronsuo National Park with my wife leading the way over there, and it's looking and feeling like the first real day of this summer. We're doing the main hiking trail, if you could call it that. It's just 10 kilometers long loop with roughly half of it on top of these duck boards that are in desperate need of renovation, but I've understood that the park officials are going to fix this during this summer season. Torronsuo, as you can see, is fairly large bog. I believe it's the largest bog in southern Finland and most certainly the deepest mire in whole Finland. The national park area itself encompasses roughly 30 square kilometers, and most of that is pretty much what you see over here. So obviously during summertime not a lot of trails to travel, but during winter then of course great place for cross-country skiing, or so I've been told. Could also be a potential site for a bikepacking trip with a fat bike. During winter, that is. I've been to Torronsuo National Park only once before. That was a few years ago. And we are now actually more on the western side of the park. And back then I was somewhere there, a few kilometers that way, just crossing this park briefly in the eastern fringes. It's also a good thing that I changed the kit bag to summer loadout, meaning that I added a small bottle of sunscreen because it is completely clear skies, and just checked the weather forecast and it promised today would be something like 16 degrees in the afternoon. It's only 10 o'clock right now, but I believe it's already over 10 degrees. Definitely summer temperatures already in May. I was kind of hoping we would see some cranes, perhaps, but so far we've seen those more at our home property than what we've seen here. But we do have binos with us, and I believe this route now comes to a place where there's like a bird watching tower. So we definitely need to go and check that out and see if we see something better there. Alright, so Kiljamo is where we came from. Torro is the village after which Torronsuo is named, and Louhos means quarry. 600 meters that way, following yellow signs. By the way, this is the first trail marking on a post that I've seen on this trail. I think I saw one very close to the ground there back in the bog, but it's not like you could get lost walking on those duck boards anyway. But maybe still something to be aware of if you come here, and especially during winter time, when I would assume it is a bit less obvious where the trail goes. But as you can see now, the trail is plenty visible and marked. I was not expecting to see a forest like this during this trail. Very nice. But the good part is that it is not so hot here in the shade. If this is the quarry, it has to be the smallest one I've seen. So 4 kilometers done in total. Now getting to road section as I predicted. And I probably didn't mention before, but some of this route is part of this Hämeen-Ilvesreitti, which is a collection of trails. I've hiked and backpacked across quite a bit of them actually. Not in the past 2 years, but before that I've been to Toronsuo, Liesjärvi, Loppi and areas in between. And sometimes they are marked with those green markings attached on posts across trails and or by trails and roads and such, but not always. And there is, as far as I know, not like one single map or like a paper map that you could get that has all of them. So you sort of have to first figure out where you want to go, then get the map of that area and see if where the Ilvesreitti goes. There isn't a lot of like super long hiking routes in Finland, especially around here. I believe Ilvesreitti is the only option. Then when going to eastern border and of course in Lapland, there's a lot longer routes that are marked. This is typical Ilvesreitti. Road is going right there, and a couple of meters to the side there's the so-called hiking route going. I remember this from 3 years ago, was it? When I did a 3-day backpacking trip on Ilvesreitti with a buddy of mine. We witnessed this plenty of times and wondered, what's the point? So we took a little snack break there, ate some homemade bread, and when we were leaving the spot, I noticed that there's actually this path that has been marked with these yellow rectangles, goes to different direction than the trails that are marked on my GPS or the official forest maps. And the only place where I could see that there's an actual trail marked was in the very low fidelity brochures that are made of Torronsuo National Park. There the loop actually goes from this hill back to the mire and on top of it, but I don't think there are any duck boards there, at least not marked on any other like proper maps. So I'm kind of skeptical now about this trail, but there is also the option that this is just a small loop in this forested area and it turns back to the main road where the actual loop route goes, according to any other source except that brochure. So we'll see. So it turns out I was half right. The route did go back to the road almost immediately after I said that it might go. But then we ended up walking only like 50 meters and then it turned back to the mire, and now we're again on duck boards. I'm really happy about this. We don't have to walk on those roads and go through the village and so forth, but we can actually walk almost the whole loop in the national park area. But I am fairly certain that these duck boards are not marked on the official maps. I will have to double check that back home, but if that is the case, or whatever the case is, I will put a comparison shot here and show the official maps and then the brochure that shows that the trail actually goes here. So we are back in the forest, and looking at the map, seems like this trail now leads back to the parking spot. All in all, a nice little day hike so far. We will probably now head to Liesjärvi National Park next for some coffee and pastries, but probably I won't be taking you guys with me on that trip. Perhaps then next time. But that's all from Taival Outdoors. My name is Joel. I'll see you all in the next one.